Hello and welcome back to coverage here at Grand Prix Minneapolis. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Melissa DeTora. And we're ready for round 8 action where we've got Bryan Carey versus Jonathan Job. And both these players are sitting at 7-0. Melissa, perfect record on the day. What are we looking at for deck lists from these two? Mono red mirror, zombies, what do we got?
Well, somehow we don't have a mono red mirror.
Okay, I like that.
So Bryan is playing a different take on black-green. This is black-green energy instead of black-green just mid-range snake type deck. So the differences are mainly Attune with Aether, Glint Sleeve Siphoner, Long Tusk Cub, and Aether Sphere Harvester. Also the normal black-green snake stuff like Rishkar, Verter, Skier Hulk, Walking Ballista, Winding Constrictor. On the other side of the table we have Jonathan Job, who's playing something super sweet. I'm really excited. I haven't seen a deck like this in a long time. I guess I'll call it Mono White Eldrazi. So
I like calling it that.
It has a lot of Eldrazi. Eldrazi Displacer, Matter Shaper, Thought Not Seer. I don't see a Reality Smasher. But he also has like white cards that you play in most white decks, like Thraben Inspectors in the deck, Archangel Avacyn, Gideon Ally of Zendikar, Stasis Snare for removal, Declaration in Stone. So it looks like he's trying to just do crazy things with Eldrazi Displacer, like blink his Thought Not Seer, blink Thraben Inspector for value, and just get stuff off the board on the opponent's side.
Yeah, you can see he's got a what is that card called? Shafet Dunes.
Oh yeah, Shafet Dunes, yeah.
Yeah, and so that way he can, have access to colorless mana while still not giving up too much in the way of actual colored mana, plus maybe even a bonus.
Yeah, all the deserts that produce colored mana are super sweet out at turning on the Eldrazi. So they're kind of like dual lands in a way, and plus they're pretty free to put in your deck. So Shafet Dunes, it doesn't look strong. It's like 4 mana and tap and sack to give your team +1/+1, very weak effect for that mana cost at least. But it's pretty much just a plains in your deck, and like it's kind of free in a way. Like way late in the game, it might get you some value. If not, it's just a land that's casting your spells in a dual land.
Glint Sleeve Siphoner now for Bryan Carey.
Yeah, this card is a good way to get value, good way to draw some extra cards. Not great against mono red or aggro decks, but very reasonable when you're facing down snake mirrors or against control.
Yeah, kind of an interesting line there from Bryan Carey. He wanted to use his Nissa to put a bunch of counters on his creatures, which made sense, but he ran out the Glint Sleeve Siphoner first to try to put counters on it, but also that left it susceptible to the Walking Ballista there, and it died.
Yeah, that's sad.
It's sad for the Glint Sleeve Siphoner, no doubt about that. She's not happy with Bryan, let's just put it that way. In the meantime, though, he does have a Selfless Spirit here at the ready.
Yeah, Selfless Spirit, a card we haven't seen in a while. Hour of Devastation, not the set, but the card, is kind of a beating against it because it makes all creatures lose indestructible, so making this guy pretty ineffective. Declaration in Stone, another card we haven't seen in a while, but pretty strong against things like tokens, graveyard synergy stuff like Earthshaker counter, just get that guy out of there forever. Basically good at taking out anything like 8/8 Verter, Skier Hulks. More energy for Bryan. Attune with Aether. Attune with Aether is like a really strong card. It allows you to play a low land count, and you're also thinning out your deck and getting value by getting energy. This card is no Lay of the Land, that's for sure.
Right. And Declaration in Stone is no Swords to Plowshares.
It is no Swords to Plowshares.
It is necessary, though, and he had to use it on the snake last turn there. And he's kind of whittled his board down to just this plant token chipping away for a couple of damage. Currently doesn't have a way to interact with it, but he's also been stuck on 2 mana for multiple turns in a row now.
Yeah, life totals are high, though.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's not that big of a deal. Here's another Walking Ballista, but it's just a 1/1.
Yeah, not really doing a whole lot here.
No, it's not that good against the black-green energy deck in general.
It will prevent Bryan from playing future Glint Sleeve Siphoners.
It's true.
Looks like Bryan has Walking Ballista in hand, which is actually really good here. You can cast it for 3 and just take out Ballista and Selfless Spirit. Kind of.
Wow, here we go, though. Verdurous Gearhulk, that's going to go way over the top of whatever Jonathan's got going on. Looks like he's going to go 2-2 and smashing with the plant token. And, Jonathan's like, I just need to find lands. I'm going to chump block here. And, the chump blocking's good and ping you for 1.
Yeah,
this is not looking good for Jonathan.
Yeah, really unfortunate that he's stuck on lands here.
Yeah, it's really caught up to him.
I would have loved to see this deck in action.
Same.
He drew another Walking Ballista.
Well, I guess he gets to just recreate that same turn again. But as we see, he's just falling further and further behind because Bryan can actually deploy his threats.
Yeah, plus his Gearhulk has Trample, so chump blocking is not even effective.
Right, 6/6 with Trample here is that is going to be tough. Oh, and there's a Walking Ballista too.
This is going to be really close to game.
Yeah, he could just shoot down the other Walking Ballista, and that one can't kill anything. So Jonathan's just going to have to go upstairs with it, knock Bryan down to 12. And he will not take lethal this turn, but he almost certainly will next turn.
Yeah, so Bryan gave Jonathan an interesting choice here. Ping the Walking Ballista first, see if Jonathan wants to sacrifice it. So now Bryan can shoot in response.
But then would lose his own.
But he didn't shoot in response.
Yeah, I think he just didn't want to lose his own Ballista. He's being a little conservative at trying to keep his board state intact. It probably won't punish him this game just because Jonathan just cannot for the life of him find a third land.
Yeah, if he had a third land, he has Stasis Snare in hand.
Oh, don't say that. Look at the targets he has for Stasis Snare. Walking Ballista and a token. I know, Jonathan. It's a beat. No, don't do that. Don't look at the top cards. You know it was Plains.
It doesn't matter, though.
Yeah, but it doesn't make you feel better. Look at him shake his head.
No, yeah, he's pretty sad.
That is not the way you want to roll. And look, he has every reason to be frustrated, right? Getting stuck on 2 lands for that many turns in a row is no fun at all.
Yeah, he probably chose this deck because of the good matchup it has against the field, I would imagine. I don't really know a whole lot about this deck, but
also for the good mana, right? Mono white,
mono white splash colorless.
Yeah,
Got those sweet deserts.
Well, he's going to have to take a deep breath here and kind of regroup because, yes, that is frustrating. He's 7-0 at the GP. He's playing on camera against Bryan here, but he's still got a good chance to win this match if he can peel off these next 2 games in a row.
Yeah, definitely. The last thing he wants to do is go on tilt here.
Exactly. You know how that is? It kind of feeds itself somehow, right? Where you make a mistake or something bad happens to you, and then you kind of let it bother you enough so that you make another mistake, and it somehow builds on itself. It's a terrible thing, but it looks like he's got himself together now.
So for sideboard, there's a lot of really interesting cards in this deck. So first of all, the most important card that Jonathan has is Solemnity. We saw this card earlier against black-green. It was a beating. So Walking Ballista just doesn't do anything.
Right.
No counters at all. It's just a dead card.
It's just a 0. It just can never do anything.
Yeah, it can't gain counters. It doesn't do anything.
The only way it can. Yeah. Okay.
So cast it for 3. All right, dead.
All right. I came up with the best case scenario. You play something like Always Watching.
Sure.
We did it.
Okay. Sure. We did it.
We made a 1/1 with no abilities.
Yeah.
All right. Fine. It doesn't do anything. What were some of the other interactions? Of course, all of the snake-based stuff.
It shuts down all the energy, so you just don't get energy.
And this is the energy version of the deck,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Well, yeah, so Solemnity is a bigger beating against this deck than against other black-green snake decks we saw today. So
man. And it was really good against those.
Just a grizzly bear or just a bear cub, depending on, on what you want to look at.
Very good.
Just a bear cub.
Rishkar?
Rishkar is just a gray ogre.
Like straight up gray ogre.
Glint sleeve
No, wait.
is
We did better, right? Legendary gray ogre.
Oh my god,
yeah, the worst gray ogre ever.
Glint sleeve siphoner is a goblin piker.
Oh my god, you're right. We've so far just gone down a little trip down memory lane from all of the kind of archetypical cards for their power and toughness, and that's not where you want to be in Standard, is it?
Definitely not.
Do they have a hill giant in there somewhere?
Is there a hill giant?
Yeah.
There's no hill giant.
Oh, no.
Verdurous Gear Hulk is 5 mana 4/4. What is that guy?
Crashing Rhinos or something? I don't. There's no.
No, there is. It's like a
Oh,
giant.
there is one.
I think so. I can't think of what it is
Rashad,
right
if
now.
there is one, you tell me in the speakers. If there's not, say nothing.
Also,
I hear nothing.
Ether Hub is just a waste.
Yes, you're
Just a
right.
waste.
Yes.
It's not tapping for mana. We have another match here, though. We have
Yeah, a little live look in on Blake Madson versus Joe Bernal.
oh, sweet, red-green ramp.
Oh,
We haven't seen this deck today.
no, we saw a little bit of it at the PT. I don't think it did particularly well.
Yeah, I don't think it did well. I do know a lot of pros were on it, having talked to some of them. But yeah, it did not perform well.
Is it Dirkwood Boars?
Dirkwood Boars
Is that
a
what you were
5 mana
searching
4/4.
for? That's what chat says we were trying to think
yep,
of.
Yep.
I'm
Yeah.
not buying it. No.
Yeah. So Solemnity just makes your Verdurous Gear Hulk a Dirkwood Boars
All
that
right.
also dies to naturalize.
All right.
Not only does it die to Doomblade.
All right, let's go
It
back
dies
to our other
naturalized,
match. Yeah,
too.
it's really bad. Now, are we going to see it, though? How many Solemnity is...
He has 3.
He's got 3, so we are going to see it. Maybe.
I
Assuming
really
he
hope
can
so.
hit
Come
land
on.
number 3, of course.
All right, he has land. He has 2 Shepherd Tunes in hand that I saw.
Okay, come on, Jonathan.
But does he have Solemnity?
Windmill that Solemnity and show us what it can do. I want to see it.
I can't tell what he has in hand. It looks like, well, he's shuffling his cards too quickly for me. I don't know.
There's the Long Tusk Cub.
Okay, so
Here it is.
If he has
Does he
Solemnity
have
here,
Solemnity?
if he has Solemnity here, then Bryan will have to use his 2 energy to just make the Cub a 3/3 in response.
And then Jonathan will just have to answer that.
That's it, right?
There it is!
Yeah!
Solemnity!
Yes!
He did it!
Solemnity!
All right. So energy is going to get used in response, and that means no more energy, no more counters on Bryan Carey's creatures.
I just have to say, Ian Duke will be so proud. Ian Duke led the set Hour of Devastation.
Okay.
And, we put Solemnity in the card in the set as, like, a hate card
at Bryan.
against, yeah, I know, right?
It's not good news, Bryan.
Yeah, basically just as a safeguard against energy in case energy got out of hand. And we also knew that it would do something in Modern, like it stops Infect, it stops a lot of stuff, it enables combos, So we weren't sure if it would see a lot of play in standard sideboards, but it actually is a huge beating against this deck.
And you mentioned it, but I have to say it again, especially this energy version.
Yeah, the
My
energy version. For sure. All right,
goodness.
so there's the waste.
All right, we have a waste.
All right, here comes Rich Card. Nope, the Harvester.
Oh, man. I
but-
really thought we were going to see a hill.
I mean, like the Harvester, you don't gain energy when you cast it, so it's just
Yeah.
a 3/5 flyer for 3, which is strong.
Yeah, Jonathan really has the explosiveness contained from Bryan Carey's list here, but, he does still have work to do because he's facing down a 3/3. The Harvester could be annoying. Ooh,
Yeah, Gideon's okay here.
Gideon helps. Gideon helps.
it's only
Doesn't
okay.
match up perfectly well here, though, does it?
Yeah, so the Harvester can kill it in 2 turns. So, it's a threat, but Jonathan needs to find a way to deal with this Harvester.
Yeah, but, I mean, even if Bryan just plays a creature here, right, he can really apply a lot of pressure to Gideon by forcing a chump block on the ground.
Yep.
Yeah, like this. How about just a 2/3?
Just a 2 mana 2/3, you know?
no.
What is this card? 2 mana 2/3?
I don't know. Oh, it's an elf. Green
Advocate
elf.
Or,
No.
Oh, Elvish Warrior.
Warrior. There you go. We did it. We came up. We got there together one way or another.
We did it. We found Elvish Warrior.
We did. So let's
This
see.
deck plays all the All-Stars with Solemnity in
Yeah,
play.
it does.
So Gideon took a beating this turn. He passed. What do you think he has? Maybe Stasis Snare?
Could be.
My guess is Stasis Snare. He could also have Cast Out. Yeah, that's pretty much all he can have looking at his list. So he probably has one of those cards.
And Bryan should be thinking in those terms as well as he plays
Yeah,
another
he has to
waste.
have something,
Yeah,
Yep, another waste. Another Elvish Warrior.
that's right.
All he needs now is old Nissa. The one that finds the Elvish Warriors, but I think they
Ooh,
had...
how about Avacyn?
Oh, yeah, he has Avacyn.
He has Avacyn.
Is totally in his deck.
Gosh, it's funny to see how different Standard is, even though Avacyn's still in it. There was a time, Melissa, when I was in the booth, and if my opponent had any amount of white mana and said, go, that it was just definitely Avacyn every single time. And those times are so far behind us that we're like, oh, Stasis Snare? You know, it's like Avacyn's still very much a card.
But now Avacyn's back.
Yeah, and she is still great.
And if Avacyn flips, everything's just dead.
Oh, yeah, it'll be a lot of dead Elvish warriors here.
Yeah, Avacyn gets pretty angry when she flips, like super aggro. Looks like Jonathan has another Solemnity in hand. Kind of redundant here, but might as well have some extra safeguard. Eldrazi
Ooh.
Displacer.
That could do some work, too.
Yeah, it can tap stuff.
Yeah, basically keep
get
the
stuff out of combat.
Aethersphere Harvester from attacking.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty good here.
He doesn't really have an engine set up, though, yet, right? One of those kind of recurring value type things that Jonathan could do potentially.
Yeah, looking at the list, there isn't too much engine stuff going on here. Like, you can blink Thought Knot Seer to just get cards out of hand. Like, the opponent will still draw cards when the thing leaves play, but you can just get the best cards out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
Thraven Inspector can give you clues.
Yeah.
It's a non-bow with Walking Ballista. It's like, oh, I'll target my Walking Ballista. Dead.
Right. By the way, speaking of Walking Ballista, there's one in hand for Bryan.
Uh-oh.
Wah, wah.
Uh-oh.
He has 2 snakes out and 6 mana, and he just has to stare at that Walking Ballista. Solemnity just laying the beats down.
Also, Dirkwood Boars hit the battlefield.
Oh, it sure did.
It has trample.
The chat's calling it the Gearhulk of shame. Oh, poor Gearhulk.
Yeah, so it looks like Bryan activated the Harvester to attempt the block. So I would have thought that Jonathan would have just blinked it out, but it looks like... Oh, all right. Actually, no, I'm just wrong. He's just playing a Thought Knot Seer.
Well, unfortunately for Jonathan, he hits a complete blank.
Yeah, so at
which
this
is actually
point,
a little bit of a liability there.
Yeah, he probably doesn't want to blink this Thought Knot Seer now.
Yeah, he knows that
he has
Bryan's
nothing in hand.
on airball, yeah.
The draw was another waste.
Well, he had that in his hand, too. What was the card he drew?
I didn't get a good look at it. Yeah, just go. I'll block your Thought Knots here, hopefully. No, probably not happening.
Yeah, I think Bryan would be quite thrilled to trade off his Dirkwood Boars for the Thought Knot there.
For sure. But that's never happening.
Yeah, Jonathan's just not going to let that happen. So where does this game go from here? Because right now we're at a bit of a stalemate, right? Or is it just
Avacyn can still get in there.
And so that's going to end the game because he can just start
Yeah.
blinking the Aethersphere Harvester with his
Yep.
Eldrazi Displacer
That is
and
his
then
plan.
4, 8, 12, 16 game.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. That is the current game plan.
I like it. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
That is a
This
solid game
This
plan.
is a sweet deck.
Especially when it hits more than 2 lands.
And if something dies, Avacyn will flip, which will... I mean, it'll clear most of the board. But it'll make a 6/5. Can't believe what a beating this Solemnity is,
My
though.
goodness. We picked that one right out of the sideboard. He played it on turn 3, and it has been a bloodbath ever since. Oh, this is interesting.
All right, so what does this card do here? What can Liliana do?
Well, he can reduce the clock by targeting Archangel Avacyn.
Yeah, now it cuts the clock in half. It's pretty significant.
And, he may need to divert some attention over to Liliana. He can't just let Liliana ultimate here. Just let him tick it up all the way and then minus it. That's not going to work either.
So another interesting thing, actually, about this Liliana. So he targets Avacyn, and then Jonathan blinks Avacyn during the second main phase still, and then just it comes back as a 4/4. And it just attacks for 4 anyway.
All right, well, then the clock stays in place, doesn't it?
Yeah, but he didn't do that this turn. A Gideon.
Ooh.
I think he emblems here.
Maybe just make an emblem?
Yep.
Wow, he just snap emblem, too.
Yep.
Gideon went from the stack to the graveyard.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing. Emblem is definitely the play here. So now this Avacyn is a 3-power creature. Get in there. Bryan has to activate the Harvester. Just force blinking it out.
But that's down to 8, so plan A is still very much in effect here for Jonathan. Or is it actually down to 10?
It should be 9 because Avacyn was a 3-power creature because of the emblem.
Right. Not 8, 9. But we're still showing at 12, so.
Well, he didn't
Seems
attack Liliana.
unlikely.
Unless he attacked Liliana. No, it looks like he didn't. So yeah, he should be at 9.
Yeah, we'll get a life total check just to make sure. Ooh, Kalitas. What does that do here? Anything?
That's a good question. Potentially nothing. It'll maybe do something if Bryan draws a removal spell, but I don't think it does anything here. Sacking a zombie doesn't give it counters.
There we go. 9 life.
Yep. Get in there. Down to 6.
Modern 19. Your event is ready to begin. Please come to the blue gathering point now. Modern 19.
Looks like an attune. Not really what you want.
No, things are looking good for Jonathan Job here.
Judge Brandon Arsenault, please come to the main event stage.
Looks like Hissing Quagmire activation, maybe? Yeah, I guess Bryan just needs to try and get stuff off the board and make zombies. Yep, this is a good block.
Yeah, they do still trade off because of Death Touch.
Yeah, they do trade, but Bryan does not get a zombie because it was a token that left the battlefield.
Right.
Attune, thin the deck a bit.
And move Liliana up to 6 loyalty.
It still doesn't matter. The Avacyn is just going to win the game in 2 turns.
Right. Have all the zombies you want, Bryan.
I think Avacyn was supposed to flip this turn, actually.
He just
right?
pointed at it. Yep.
Yeah, because the Hissing Quagmire died.
That's right.
So that actually was just game.
Yep, that was actually just game. Going to kill a bunch of creatures and then smash for 6. Get the thing out of the way. And that is going to do it for game number 2. Jonathan Job, much happier with his performance there.
Avacyn the Purifier, super angry.
Oh, she mad.
So it looks like Bryan doesn't have anything to deal with the Solemnity in play.
No answers for it, huh?
No answers. All he can do is basically change his deck configuration to just have less stuff that puts counters on things. Like he can board in stuff like Fleetwheel Cruiser, Ob Nixilis, Tireless Tracker, more Liliana. So he can change his deck up a bunch, which is probably what he has to do here because Solemnity just hurts him so much.
God, what a beating.
I also don't see any copies of Transgress the Mind, which is a pretty decent answer against it. He does have Doomfall. Doomfall is like a duress variant.
And he's going to be on the play here.
I don't think Doomfall is worth siding in just to try and hit Solemnity. I don't think it does enough in this matchup. But I think Tireless Tracker should come in here. Again, as we've said in previous rounds, there are players just trying to build decks specifically to beat mono red. And Jonathan's deck looks like an attempt to do that. He has authority of the consoles in the sideboard as well, which is really good against mono red. Shuts down all the haste, gains a bunch of life. White also gives you access to strong removal, like Declaration in Stone. Fleet Wheel Cruiser is an interesting card to see.
I haven't seen that one in a while. I was just
Yeah.
looking at that on the sideboard there for Bryan.
Yeah, it's kind of like Ball Lightning.
What do you think it's for?
Probably control.
Smash them?
Yeah, probably just smash him. Like, I don't think I would side it in against anything aggro. I don't think it's very good against the green-based deck, so probably just for the control decks. It matches up pretty poorly against Gear Hulks, though. Torrential Gear Hulks.
Gets gobbled up, doesn't it?
It does. Pay 4 mana, attack with a 5/3, cast Gear Hulk, die.
All right, going to game 3 here. Is it going to be mono white Eldrazi or is it going to be black green energy on the play?
It might depend on if Jonathan draws either lands or Solemnity. And we have a mulligan.
Boy. And he looks too.
Yep, yep.
Do you look? You look, right?
It depends. It depends on what kind of mood I'm in. Like I'm not the type of player who's like, oh, I can never look because that's bad. No, I don't care. Just sometimes you just want to have fun and look.
Oh, God. So loose. Have fun. This is not about fun. This is magic.
I don't know. Like, to be fair, Magic is a game.
I'm kidding.
It's very possible that the definition of a game has the word fun in it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not actually sure, but it probably has the word
All right,
fun
I'm
in
listening. I'm listening. I'm learning. I disagree vehemently, but I want to see. No, Rashad. Come on, Rashad. You know that's not how it works. He said he looks to see if he made the right decision.
Yeah, but
Oh,
here's
no.
the thing. If you mulligan, you probably made the right decision.
Well, you're certainly not going to find out if you did or didn't based on the next couple of cards.
No, but like if you mulligan, you don't need to look because you made the right decision. You chose to mulligan.
Well, I'll tell you
That
what.
was
If you
probably
keep and
correct.
look, you're really not doing it right.
You can't keep and look. That's bad.
Right.
Unless it's a mull to 6 and you scry.
Yeah, nobody has fun with that.
Looks like Jonathan kept his 6 and he's deciding on what he wants to do with this card. As far as his hand goes, I think that's a Solemnity in the back of his hand. I think.
Put it on the bottom.
But I only see one land.
Bottom it.
Well, it depends. So how many lands does he have?
I don't know. I don't care. If you have to think this long, bottom it.
You're probably right.
He's getting greedy. I have no idea what the card is. I don't know what the makeup of his hand is.
So the more time
he
that goes
topped
by,
it.
the greedier he is.
I think.
Well, that was not a land. I can't tell how many lands he has in his hand.
I feel like he doesn't have enough.
And land.
That was a land.
Chef at Dunes. Yes. And he had the Scavenger Grounds.
He had at least one other
So-
land. Minimum one other
So
land.
he does
he's-
have land 3 for Solemnity. Liliana,
Wow.
great answer to Solemnity, and
Empty board.
that is a card that works.
And there's a land that he drew.
Matter Shaper.
Hey,
nice.
that's pretty nice here.
Definitely.
I mean, Liliana's going to do fine work against the Matter Reshaper, but Liliana Last Hope is a really good magic card. I'm a big fan of that card, by the way.
Of Matter Shaper.
No,
Or-
of Liliana Last Hope.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Liliana of the Last Hope is great.
I think it's a really good card. And a really cool one, too. And excellently designed. I mean it. 3-mana Planeswalkers are tough.
They really are. Yeah.
They're either like too bad and you're like, who cares? Or they're so good, you're like, how does this only cost 3?
Yeah, we did iterate on this a ton. I remember when it came out, when it first got previewed, players were just like, this seems super weak.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know,
They were
minus
wrong.
2/-1 is just not significant enough. But the fact that it's on a 3-mana Planeswalker is what makes it strong. If it was a 4-mana Planeswalker, it would be like borderline unplayable. But the fact that it's on a 3-mana Planeswalker, like one turn earlier on a Planeswalker, is huge.
Especially with an ultimate that's very achievable. You know, out of the last however many Planeswalkers that actually have like an ultimate you have to work to, by the way, there's Solemnity from Jonathan. She ultimates more than most.
Yeah, I would agree
You
with
know,
that.
outside of like Gideon that it's cheating or whatever, just to
Yeah,
zero
that
it.
that
you know
ultimate's
what I
immediately.
mean.
Like,
Yeah.
is that even an ultimate, or is that just
Nah.
a minus ability?
It's just a minus ability.
Jonathan has to do some work here if he wants to deal with this Liliana ultimate. His deck does have cast out.
Now it looks like he's going to keep the pressure up here, Bryan.
Ooh, free planes.
He's going to use a grasp to take down that Matter Reshaper, but like you said, Plains was the top card, so it's going to go right into play. Matter Reshaper's sweet too, by the way.
It is sweet.
That's some value.
It's free cards.
Yeah, I like that. But this is starting to get a little bit hot under the collar here for Jonathan, because while Rishkar isn't going to do anything because of Solemnity, he has no pressure right now on
Yeah,
Liliana, and
that's the
she's already
problem.
at 6. One more turn, she'll go to 7. The turn after that, it's zombie time.
Yeah, we were making fun of legendary Grey Ogre,
Yeah.
but on an empty board, while you have a Planeswalker that's ticking up every turn, it's pretty reasonable. So here's land 5. So he's representing Avacyn here, but Bryan has the grass for it.
Oh, that's bad news for
That
Jonathan.
is very bad, yeah.
He's also got a Sky Sovereign in
Oh.
hand. Now, he could knock Liliana down a notch with that.
Or do you just knock down the
The tracker.
Maybe you just get the tracker. It's a tough call.
Uh,
If he thinks he can deal
My
with
gut says
with
you
the-
just get the tracker, but
Yeah, that's what my gut says too. And that is what he decides to do.
but you know you're like, oh, please, you know, he needs a creature that has 3 power. He needs to be able to crew that thing up next turn and have it not get messed with. Because Liliana threat is very real at this point.
Yeah, well,
But Tao's tracker is like guaranteed to smash you.
yeah, he probably has a creature to crew this Sky Sovereign. Otherwise, if he didn't, he would have just targeted the Liliana. Oh, he decides to get a creature here. Nice. Okay. So what this tells Jonathan is that he does not have a way to deal with Sky Sovereign.
Right, he was
So
respecting.
he's just trying to get as much value out of Liliana as he can.
Yeah.
And these clues are going to add up. This looks like a Thought-Knot Seer based on what mana was tapped for it. Do you grasp in response? So he's going to draw a card first. He's going to draw a card first and then reveal the hand.
Well.
Oh, he boarded in the Fleetwheel Cruiser. Okay.
Well, it's gone.
I mean, like, it makes sense. What if he draws a land? Then, like, the Thought-Knot Seer is just value for him, right? I would grasp that thing in response. Because, like, you know, you have a chance to draw land. And also, if you just take the grasp, you just have a 4/4
Sure.
that you might not be able to deal with.
That makes sense.
Generally, when someone Thought-Knot Seers me and I have the rules fell, I just usually kill the Thought-Knot Seer in
You
response.
just got to use it.
Yeah. Because you just might not draw a way to deal with it.
Well, that was worked out very nicely for Jonathan,
Yeah, for sure.
as that Sky Sovereign went in and just smashed Liliana and took her out of the equation entirely. Now, Jonathan's still at 15 life, and he's facing down a 2/2 and a bunch of lands, but I will remind you there are still 3 clues, and that's going to be a lot of gasoline in the tank there for Bryan Carey over the next turn or two.
Yes, but on the plus side for Jonathan, most of the cards in Bryan Carey's deck are blanks thanks to Solemnity. So he just drew a Long Tusk Cub, which is pretty much just a grizzly bear or a bear cub because, you know, cub.
Right. Yeah, he does have 2 energy,
He
but
does
if he
have 2
spends
energy,
it, nothing
right.
will happen.
Yeah. So it's just a bear cub.
It's just a bear cub. So we've got grizzly bears and gray ogre. We're
Yep.
playing Magic
Legendary-
in 1994.
Yeah, legendary Grey Ogre.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually they're actually worse than the cards
Yep.
that they're named after.
But on the plus side, bear cub is probably the cutest card in Magic.
Hold on, I'm gonna look this thing up.
Oh, you have to.
Oh my god. That is legit cute.
Yes.
It's looking at a bee.
Yeah, so
That's
you know,
definitely cuter than
we
a
have
long
two
tusk.
tutus in play. They aren't really doing a whole lot.
One costs 3.
One does cost 3.
One only costs 2.
Jonathan does need a way to crew the Sky Sovereign.
Jake, can you put up Bear Cub for me? You guys got to see this. I know it's not relevant, but my God.
It is relevant. There's one in play.
Ron Spencer just killing us with kindness.
Look at those little feet. They're adorable.
Yeah, that is a great. Yeah, see, chat loves it. Everybody loves it. Bryan is certainly not missing land drops here. He's cracked 2 of those 3 clues.
Yeah, usually when you have clues in a tune with Ether, you tend to draw a lot of lands.
He finds
So his hand
Fatal
is another
Push.
grizzly bear.
right and a fatal push. No, Bear Cub.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Sky Sovereign is going to be a problem. Jonathan has Gideon in hand too.
But he does need ways to crew here, right? Like,
Looks like we have a stasis snare coming.
to take down the hissing quagmire. Okay. And he's just going to have to take the 4.
Yep, but it's fine. Black-green decks don't really have a lot of ways to deal damage other than attacking with creatures, and I think once Gideon hits, most of the creatures will be under control.
So he can play Gideon, make a knight.
He is taking damage off of these Sheffet dunes. It looks like.
Oh, here
More
goes
clues.
Declaration and Stone to take out 2 creatures. Now, it isn't as bad as it looks, right? Like, he gets the clues back. He has plenty of mana. But at least for the moment on board, it's pretty devastating. And
Yeah.
the board is now completely clear.
Yes.
That is a beating.
Yeah. And like I said, a lot of the cards in Bryan's deck are blank. Like Walking Ballista is blank.
Yep.
Rishkar is pretty blank.
Rishkar's pretty blank, yeah.
Ether Sphere Harvester or Fleet Wheel Cruiser is blank.
You know, I think we're going to see Jonathan Job just clean up this mess here with the Gideon and the Sky Sovereign.
Yeah, that should feel good after his poor draw in game 1.
Remember when he was shaking his head?
Yeah, he was really mad. Like, he knew the matchup was good.
Yeah.
He was like, man, this is not how I want to lose this match.
Tell you what, he ain't shaking his head anymore.
No, probably not. He
Now
has a
he's,
board.
now he's pumping his fist.
Like, he has a ship in play. He
Look at
has
that. He's loving
Planeswalker.
it. His hat says dead money. Not anymore.
Commander 70.
Jonathan Job's just bringing the heat now. And he's got Bryan Carey on the run.
Yeah, this
Reduced
Fatal
his
Push
deck
is
to a
not gonna
bunch
do
of
anything.
Yeah,
Looks like he's only holding lands in Fatal Push.
Took a deck that can be one of the most powerful explosive decks, and thanks to Solemnity in both games 2 and 3, he turned it into a throwback deck to 1995. What a beating.
This is just a throwback match. We have Swords to Plowshares.
Yep. We got it all.
We have Flame Tongue Kavu. Kind of. Sky Sovereign's like Flame Tongue Kavu, right?
You mean Desert FTK?
Well, I mean, I was going with a real Flame Tongue Kavu, but sure.
No.
Desert
no. There's
FTK.
only one FTK in Standard right now. And it's the Desert FTK.
That's Desert
You
FTK.
named it that, and I'm buying, so. Looks like Jonathan's
Sky
going to
Sovereign
attack with
getting in
both.
there.
Yeah, and the Knight. Well, Bryan's in desperation mode
That
here.
is not where you want to be.
No. Using a Fatal Push on a Knight token.
I don't think.
Gideon can start getting in there, too. This is really falling away from Bryan Carey here. I think we're on the verge of seeing Jonathan move to 8-0 with mono white Eldrazi.
Yeah, looking at his deck list in Sideboard, he doesn't have any outs here. Like, he has.
He just
no
doesn't have a
to-
way to come back,
Yeah,
right?
no way to clear the board. Like, there's no series of draws here that can get him back in this game. He has no removal for Sky Sovereign.
Yeah, his deck's just not set up for this. It's meant to capitalize on the explosive stuff that he's got, and, well, That plan is not going to work here.
Bronson, Jeff Noga, Josh Lyerson, and Braden Bronson. You are missing from your.
I would like to see a Chef at Dunes activation at some point.
It is rare.
This card is good. This is a strong card.
Yeah, it is. It makes colorless mana and white mana.
Yeah, dual
That's the only
lands.
reason it's good.
Wow, like, talk about throwback. Like, we have the Gray Ogres, we have the Grizzly Bears, we have the dual lands. So he activated it. He activated
He
Chef
did
at
it. He
Dunes.
did what
Yeah,
you wanted.
He did it. He activated it, used the Knight token to crew his Sky Sovereign, and that looks like lethal attack.
And that's going to do it. Jonathan Job in big style here wins the match 2 games to 1 after a really rough start for him, where he just could not hit a third land to save his life. And even though Bryan had a pretty normal draw, he was able to run him over. But the next 2 games went to Jonathan, and he is 8-0 with mono white Eldrazi here in Minneapolis. We're going to be back right after these messages.